All right, Chad, we're back
and,
live.
and all
back
this
live.
stuff is also available.
Wow, thank you very
So
much.
it's well, it's
press,
King,
we don't usually do that.
It's Kingman City.
Kingman City. Wow, very cool. Awesome. Okay.
Yep, I'm just kind of waiting for this to get kicked out of the farm. Wow. Looks like it's slowing down, so fairly slowing down, so fairly good. All of them, right? All right. Good.
Man, they
All
really.
of them, right? All right.
Everything's organized all up.
Really? Where'd the stuff for this one
It wasn't set up.
It wasn't.
It wasn't set up.
How bad does that sound when I flip it? I sort of wish there was an easier way to flip that mic around, but I sort of wish there was an easier way to. How's the mic sound? We'll talk about a couple things here. Well, I lost you earlier. That first stream went down as I went inside the restaurant. I don't know how much of that you were able to catch.
Onto the country. Putin said his goal was to, quote, demilitarize, and he also cited, quote, denazification. Those are his two goals in Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin also issuing a very stark warning to anyone who tries to interfere, saying, quote, this will lead you to such consequences as you have never experienced in your history. We can confirm today that although Russian Defense Ministry has said that only military bases and military infrastructure is being targeted, we can confirm that 40 Ukrainian troops have been killed, at least 10 civilians have also been killed, and dozens have been injured. What is happening on the ground in Ukraine? People are lining up to leave the major cities. We have been showing you, and let's show you right now, because these are images coming into our newsroom, live, raw, and unfiltered. This is the city of Kharkiv, which now you can see empty streets. People have left the area as a result of these explosions happening around the city. What explosions are we referring to? Well, we also have images of these types of smoke and clouds that you see in the sky there. This is coming into our newsroom from central Ukraine, WarRoom. And this is a situation that these people woke up to this morning. President Vladimir Putin making this address just before 6 a.m. Moscow time, which was overnight for us, and the people of Ukraine woke up to this. We can also confirm that troops have entered Ukraine through Crimea. Those are images coming into our newsroom provided to us by the Ukrainian Guard Service, showing Russian vehicles moving across the border from the south from Crimea. For those of you that need perhaps a better visual, let's bring in this map into the conversation, because I want everyone to understand what regions we are talking about. This is a map that we've been showing to you for a couple of days now. Russian troops were stationed to the north in Belarus. Russian troops were stationed all along Ukraine's eastern border in those areas of Luhansk and Donetsk. Let's bring in that map so you can see precisely where those areas are. And those are two areas within Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin declared these two regions, as you can see, very much within Ukraine's borders. He declared them independent. President Vladimir Putin, as President Biden told the world, who the heck does this guy think he is? Those are not my words. Those are the words chosen by our president to describe this decision to declare these regions as independent. Let's bring it back out to this map. So this is the map that we've been monitoring. Troops have entered Ukraine from those two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk. They have entered Ukraine through the north, through Belarus, and also Crimea. That video that I just showed you of those troops crossing the border, that is happening in that light blue area to the bottom of your screen. That is a area, as we all know, that was annexed back in 2014. These conflicts with these regions has been happening ever since. And this is the point of escalation that we have reached. We also want to bring to your attention more images of that we're getting into our newsroom of flashing lights seen in the night sky. This is what Ukrainians once again were waking up to this morning. President Zelensky has declared martial law. He has called for citizens to fight. He did promise hourly updates, so we are working to get those for you. But as all of this is occurring, of course, the people of Ukraine are concerned. There is an elevated sense of reaction now, a place that was obviously, we've been speaking to
To everybody again tuning into the stream here, I'm currently getting debriefed over last night's events that unfolded. To everybody that's been sending me PMs in Discord, thank you guys so much for your continued help with sourcing this news. I'll give everybody shout outs later. Once again, thank you guys so much. Shout outs to all the Russian trolls that have continued to keep up a presence overnight. You guys are awesome. It's because of you that our mods have something to do. To 69K, thank you so much for showing back up this morning, man. We'll definitely have to get together sometime this week and go over some of the chaos that's unfolded over the past week and have a little shindig, because we haven't been together in quite a while. They're starting to protest in Moscow. Yeah, we're seeing protests coming in from Germany, Moscow, and a bunch of places. I'll get to that when I come on the news, or sorry, come on the air a little later, guys. My plan is I'm getting some stuff done here on our end. We're getting kind of our mods lined up and mobilized. I'm going to get the stream layout upgraded again today. Somebody says your mod banned me. Well, if you guys maybe can send me a PM on Discord or an email if you've been banned, I can look into appeals for those. But yeah, Discord got wild last night, says Nola. It will. It's the Wild West over there, guys, and we understand that. I will increase slow mode over the course of the day as things heat up in the Discord. We're definitely going to increase slow mode and our mod presence as well, so we're keeping an eye on things. As we expand, of course, we're going to need to take steps and increase measures to kind of keep the chat and stuff under control. As you guys can see, we've now enabled slow mode on both YouTube and Twitch. Subscriber-only chat is on YouTube now, so if you guys do want to talk in the live chat, you will have to subscribe now. That's just to help kind of keep a lot of the bots and stuff at bay. OG Trev, dude, thank you so much for tuning in again, OG Trev. You've been with us for 4 days, I think, now. Yeah, I got some sleep. Thank you very much for your concern. Where did the Situation Room on Discord go? It's right there. It's right underneath General Chat. It's been made into a thread. General Chat, guys, is for just the Wild West of discussion. You guys can just, you know, continue to have your discussions in General Chat as you have been. I'm going to create another. I'm going to create another few channels in the Discord here so we can spread out that conversation. We're going to have a dedicated Ukraine crisis discussion thread on the Discord, separate from the general chat. The general chat will just be kept for random discussion, whatever you guys want to talk about. Right below general chat, I'm going to put a Ukraine crisis thread. That's where we will talk specifically about the Ukrainian and Russian crisis. The Situation Room is preferably only for links to posts. Somebody says, can I have the Discord link? Yeah, you can find the Discord link underneath the stream, both on YouTube and on Twitch, okay? So you can find those the Discord link down there. Everybody is welcome to join. As I said earlier, it's a little bit chaotic over there right now, but we're getting everything taken care of here. Damfhammer says, Nam, your subs doubled. Yeah, we just passed 8,000 subs a few moments ago, you guys. The Russian trolls put a little bit of a damper on that overnight, but I'm not too concerned about it. As I said, we got everything under control now, and I'm just happy to see that so many familiar faces are still tuned into the stream right now, guys, from all over the world. I've been getting calls from people all over the world. I've been getting calls from Ukrainians on my public phone. People have been giving us calls of support all night. To everybody that has supported my public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. To everybody that has supported my public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. To everybody that has supported my public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. To everybody that has supported my public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. To everybody that has supported my public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. My public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night. My public phone, people have been giving us calls of support all night.
proved tragically accurate. President Putin of Russia has unleashed war.
That's my fault, y'all. Sorry, I was checking something and I forgot to. Now I'm back on. That's my fault, y'all. Sorry, I was checking something and I forgot to. Now I'm back on. That's my fault, y'all. Sorry, I
Innumerable
was
missiles
checking
and
something.
bombs have been raining down on an entirely innocent population. A vast invasion is underway by land, by sea, and by air. And this is not in the infamous phrase, some faraway country of which we know little. We have Ukrainian friends in this country, neighbors, co-workers. Ukraine is a country that for decades has enjoyed freedom and democracy and the right to choose its own destiny. We and the world cannot allow that freedom just to be snuffed out. We cannot and will not just look away. It's because we've been so alarmed in recent months at Russian intimidation that the UK became one of the first countries in Europe to send defensive weaponry to help the Ukrainians. Other allies have now done the same, and we will do what more we can in the days ahead. Today, in concert with our allies, we will agree a massive package of economic sanctions designed in time to hobble the Russian economy. And
you honestly can almost tell that none of these world leaders really give a shit because they're just trying to do sanctions. That'd be like trying to put somebody in timeout for killing somebody.
Is clear. Diplomatically, politically, economically, and eventually militarily.
I think they're just pretending like they care, to be honest.
Of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. And so I say to the people of Russia, whose president has just authorized a tidal wave of violence against a fellow Slavic people, as the parents of Russian soldiers who will lose their lives, I cannot believe this is being done in your name, or that you really want the pariah status it will bring to the Putin regime. And I say to the Ukrainians in this moment of agony, we are with you. We're praying for you and your families, and we are on your side. And if the months ahead are grim and the flame of freedom burns low, I know that it will blaze bright again in Ukraine. Because for all his bombs and tanks and missiles, I don't believe that the Russian dictator will ever subdue the national feeling of the Ukrainians and their passionate belief that their country should be free. I say to the British people and all who have heard the threats from Putin against those...
You know what sanctions let us know? Sanctions let us know that these world leaders know what Russia is doing is wrong. Lack of equal force shows us they don't really care. They really know, and they don't really care.
To ensure that the sovereignty and independence of Ukraine is restored. Because this act of wanton and reckless aggression is an attack not just on Ukraine, it's an attack on democracy and freedom in Eastern Europe and around the world. This crisis is about the right of a free, sovereign, independent European people to choose their own future. And that is a right that the UK will always defend.
And that was a statement made this morning by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Here is another live look at what we are monitoring today. Protests live from Moscow as Russians take to the streets to protest the decision made by President Vladimir Putin this morning to invade Ukraine. We are expecting at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for President Joe Biden to address the nation, to address the world, and make his latest statement as a response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We have been waiting for a set time for this all morning long, and we do have that now. It will happen at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, there is a map of the region that we are monitoring as we speak. President Zelensky, Ukrainian President Zelensky, has declared martial law. He has called for his citizens to fight. He has called for Russian citizens to take to the streets Oh, and it does appear that we are getting a new vantage point of what we are monitoring here outside of the streets on the streets of Moscow. So I do want to show you there is a large police presence here. There is also groups of people beginning to form. So we do think that there is going to be some kind of protest here to make their voices known to President Vladimir Putin that the people of Russia are not aligned with his decision to invade. We also are monitoring another bit of breaking news coming into our newsroom and confirmation from President Zelensky himself that Russian occupation forces are trying to seize the Chernobyl site. That obviously that nuclear plant. Our defenders are giving their lives so that the tragedy of 1986 will not be reported. This was reported to the Swedish Prime Minister. This is a declaration of war against the whole of Europe. This is the latest update that we have from Ukrainian President Zelensky at a time where President Vladimir Putin this morning confirmed that he was going to launch a, quote, special military operation into Ukraine. Now, Russian defense officials did confirm that today's mission and that this invasion was targeting only a defensive infrastructure, military infrastructure, air defense systems, airfields, and the air forces. But it does appear now that from the north, from Belarus, and let's bring out the map so that we all understand what it is that we are looking at and what it is that we are speaking about. From the north, they have entered Ukraine and they have now gone after Chernobyl. We are getting this information into our news desk as I speak, so I'm trying to gather the latest. But Ukraine's Interior Ministry, along with President Zelensky, announced that Russian troops have pushed from Belarus, so from the north of Ukraine, into the highly radioactive Chernobyl exclusion zone. This is obviously a big development that has just reached our news desk. I do want to bring you a statement. Quote, National Guard troops responsible for protecting the storage unit for dangerous radioactive waste are putting up fierce resistance. So this is what we can confirm right now as we speak, that a fierce resistance is being put up against Russian occupation forces that are trying to seize Chernobyl. Ukraine's President Zelensky, as you see on your screens, he has confirmed this on Twitter. This site is now inside of a protective zone covering about 1,000 square miles. This is including part of the shortest direct route from Belarus to Kyiv. So these forces are entering Ukraine from the north, from Belarus, and this does have a direct route from Belarus to Kyiv, just looking further into the future, into what we could be reporting in coming hours, in coming days. Russian forces have advanced on Ukraine by land, sea, and air today. We can confirm, and we'll change this lower for those of you perhaps tuning in without audio, that 40 Ukrainian troops and at least 10 civilians have been killed. Dozens have been injured. We also reported earlier today that the Ukrainians have had some success against the Russian forces. 7 warplanes, 2 helicopters, so 7 Russian warplanes and 2 Russian helicopters have been destroyed, and at least 2 Russian soldiers have been taken into custody. And we are seeing those tweets come in. Here is an image of that Russian soldier that was captured by the Ukrainian army. There you see, you can confirm that he's a Russian soldier because of the badge on his chest. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has confirmed, quote, Ukrainian military have taken prisoners 2 Russian soldiers of Unit 91701 of Yampol Motorized Infantry Regiment. So this was breaking news that we brought to you just a couple of hours ago, probably about an hour and a half ago, but we can still confirm that the casualty count, according to our sources, is still 40 Ukrainian troops and at least 10 civilians have been killed. This is a situation that has really been evolving over the past couple of hours. The world woke up to the news here of President Vladimir Putin deciding to invade, and the world is now waking up and reacting. We do want to bring you images that have made it to our newsroom this morning of what the situation on the ground does look like in Ukraine. This is the empty streets of Kharkiv, one of the major cities in Ukraine. It's actually the second largest city in the country. and the streets are deserted. Just a couple of hours ago, we also showed you a camera driving through the streets of Kyiv, of course, the Ukrainian capital, and those streets were also beginning to be deserted. And this comes at a time where Ukrainian President Zelensky has declared martial law, and he has called for his citizens to fight. We're also getting images of what Ukrainians woke up to this morning: smoke in the sky after explosions across the country, hitting those key cities, cities with airports. Port cities like Mariupol and Odessa were also hit, and these all part of the Russian strategy to hit Ukrainian defense areas, their defense infrastructure first. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed that they were not targeting civilian areas, but as we've been reporting all morning long, we can confirm that at least 10 civilians have been killed. We do want to continue to bring you images that are making their way into our newsroom. These are images of Russian troops entering Ukraine from the south through the Crimea region. This is a region that was annexed by Russia back in 2014, and they have now used it as a gateway into Ukraine. This was their way of entering from the south. They entered from the east, all along the eastern border, through Donetsk and Luhansk, those two areas that Putin declared independent, and then of course now are entering from the north through Belarus, and as we just reported to you, now targeting Chernobyl. The people of Ukraine are reacting. They are trying to...
Hey guys, how's it going? Everybody there?
They have all entered their cars, and we're seeing massive traffic jams in the city. There were long lines to get gas this morning, people lining up to take their money out of banks this morning, people heading down into the subway systems to use them as makeshift bomb shelters. Our very own Steve Harrigan, he is down on the ground in Ukraine, and he has the latest report for us.
Can you imagine those people in those cars there? They're terrified, they're trying to flee bombing, and yet they're absolutely stuck. They're trying to get out to the west towards Poland because bombs started to fall here, rockets started to fall in the hours before dawn. I think this speaks to two things, really. It spoke to just how people here didn't believe this was going to happen. They didn't think Russia would attack Ukraine. They saw their ties with Russia as too close, and they didn't think full-scale invasion would happen. But I think it also speaks to a failure on the part of the political leadership here, the failure to prepare the people for what could happen and what is happening now. So we have a complete road jam.
Alright guys, I'm able to talk to you while I'm on the road, so just so everybody knows, I am here. I'm going to be going, but the wife will be watching the live stream, so that way we make sure we still have content up for you. I will be back tomorrow evening, though, so just so everybody is aware.
Disaster initially here on the humanitarian front. There have been explosions, but no reports of mass casualties. Russia is saying they're using precision-guided weapons to attack command and control centers and air defenses. So we've heard explosions. About an hour ago, behind those heavy clouds, we heard a thud, thud, thud. Sounds like thunder in the distance, but no reports of mass casualties here in Kyiv yet.
And thank you to Steve for that report. So once again, this is what we are monitoring. It does appear that our view of the protests live from Moscow has gone away, but we can bring you a new feed that I will change for you on your screens so that we all know what it is that we are monitoring live, raw, and unfiltered here on Live Now from Fox. The U.S. ambassador to Ukraine is expected to speak. So we will be hearing that in the coming minutes. We will be monitoring this feed for us all. This is where he will give his address from. Of course, we are also monitoring the White House, because today President Joe Biden is expected to give an address to the American people and to the world. That address is set for 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we will have that for you live, raw, and unfiltered here on Live Now from Fox. And as we wait to hear from the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, we did just hear from the UK ambassador to Ukraine. We're going to step away for a quick 2-minute break, and we're going to bring you that latest update right after this.
By the way, good morning, everybody. I hope y'all are having a good day today. I just woke up maybe about 45 minutes ago. Getting started off for the day, y'all. Looks like Russia and Ukraine still been banging it out overnight. Get us back to this coverage. We also, as it develops today, we will have more People's Convoy coverage, y'all. It's just Ukraine, Russia's kind of taken over for the moment for how serious things are. We still do have optics on the People's Convoy. People will see how big that it is still.
Welcome into Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Gabrielle Amato, live now from our Orlando studios. And we are monitoring three screens here, or three boxes here on your screen, I should say. The first, soon, we will be hearing from the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. He is scheduled to speak. Also coming up today, President Joe Biden is set to address the nation. We do now have a time for that address. It's going to happen at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, a map for context, so we all know precisely what it is that we are saying and what it is that we mean when we say that Russia has launched a full-scale invasion into Ukraine. As you can see there on that map, Russia has positioned troops from the north, from the east, and also from the south, and all of those troops have now made their way into Ukraine. We do have a couple of updates to provide you. President Biden held a National Security Council meeting today in the Situation Room to talk about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A White House official has confirmed this meeting, so he just met with his National Security Council. What came out of that meeting is expected to obviously be reflected in his statement that we will hear at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. We can also confirm that President Biden participated in a virtual G7 meeting this morning. That also happened in the Situation Room. We momentarily had a feed of that, but we have since lost that. If we do get updates on that, we will also bring that to you. We can also confirm that Ukrainian President Zelensky has confirmed that Russian occupation forces are trying to seize Chernobyl as we speak, and that Ukrainian officials, Ukrainian military members are trying to keep the Russian occupation forces entering Ukraine from the north and targeting Chernobyl away. We do, as before we went into that break, we promised that we would hear from the UK ambassador to Ukraine. He spoke just a couple of minutes ago, and as we wait for the US ambassador to speak, I do want to play the UK ambassador's full address as leaders from around the world weigh in to condemn Russia's actions today. Let's take a listen.
Closer?
Yeah, if you can, please. Thank you.
Don't want to break anything. Oops. Will it do?
Thank you, that'll do, yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming here. We would be happy to come to your offices and talk to your presenters at any given moment. Now is not the good time. We are preoccupied mostly with organizing the defense, helping Ukraine to survive, talking to your own government and governments, talking to people, MPs, just average Britons all over UK and much outside of the United Kingdom. What we are trying to do to tell you the truth, and you don't have to do much because your people in Ukraine right now are doing a very courageous job, going all the places and seeing and reporting what they actually see. We will be able to discuss with you and talk about whatever the questions you have, but just to kickstart our today's conversation, we don't believe that this is operation, the special operation which Putin calls it. We see that it's full-scale attack against us. The idea he has, and he described it, to denazify, whatever, to take the Nazis from Ukraine. This is an attack against us, against Ukrainians. We don't want to be freed from anybody. We are on our land. We are not provoking him, neither our neighbors. One of these neighbors just betrayed us. That's Belarus. We've seen attacks from their territory. We've seen the cruise missiles coming from there. We see tanks rolling over our border with Belarus. This is something very unexpected. We knew how bad the dictator, but we didn't expect that Belarusians will betray us as a nation, as a friendly nation on our north. Russians came from all four sides. They're trying to take all of our territory. They're taking a couple of towns.
All right, guys. To
We
anybody,
see,
really quick update to anybody listening
people
on
being
the
killed,
Discord.
both civilians
So we have
and
reset the
military
general
personnel.
chat. The threads
We
were
don't
like
have the
straight
exact
up
number,
bugged.
but the number you see on Ukrainian
Discord
Ukrainian media and your media reporting from Ukraine are correct.
Had a fail
we can,
there.
We can report
and so
of
we
those.
had to fully
you can actually
delete
check
the general chat and reset it.
headquarters
But I archived
of
all of our
Ukrainian
threads,
armed
guys,
forces
so
to
all
see
of that has
the
been
losses.
archived.
But we're putting up a real fight.
Just a
We're
fair
trying
warning
to
to
get as many
anybody
Russians
posting
to another
discussion
world
in
as
the
possible as
situation
well.
room. You
Tanks,
will be banned,
helicopters,
okay?
planes
The
being
situation
shot
room is
down.
only for
We are
links to
defending our
posts.
land. Unfortunately, some of
It's
our
only
requests
for
to defend. They
yeah,
are
links
now
to
blocked
posts
the
and
whole sea.
sources.
We
I have to
can
keep the
have
text
access to the Black
availability
Sea and
open
Sea
on there
as
though,
well.
just so like people
They
can
started this and
add mention
blocked
me
it
and stuff
and
like that.
finally explained
But yeah, guys,
terrorist
please keep the
attack
situation
in
room
Black
to
Sea and
just
Sea as well.
links. Just links about the
limiting
situation,
our
videos,
capabilities of
pictures, stuff
bringing
like that.
the
If you
reinforcement
guys are
or
seen
even
in the
the
situation
supplies.
room
One of the supplies
having
we will
conversation
need
or
to
trolling, you will
import
immediately
Chat,
be
just
blocked.
so
You will
everybody
not be able
knows,
to
Grant
file
stream
any
down in the
appeal.
bottom left-hand
Okay?
corner. That is where the Ukrainian update is taking place.
Yeah, and if
then
you're
in the
caught
top
spamming
right-hand
reactions,
corner
you guys
at
will also be
Imoco
immediately banned. So,
network.
just fair warning to
I
everybody.
think I said his name wrong.
To everybody spamming
But
reactions in the situation
that's
room,
who's
just
talking over
take a
the
chill
top
on that because you will be banned
so
if you're
both
caught
of those
spamming
are
reactions.
live.
You will be banned if
live
you're caught having a
audio
discussion.
feeds coming from
Now,
both.
to the mods, like if you see
Live
somebody
audio
just
feeds coming
saying,
from
like
both,
if they post a link and then they,
network
comment,
doesn't
like
talk
put
a
a
lot,
comment under
so
it
we
saying,
have Grant,
just for some extra information,
yeah.
don't delete them. But if you see somebody,
Grant giving us
trolling in the
the
situation room, if you see
sound.
somebody having continuous conversations, first
network
remind them to go
goes
to the
down,
general chat.
stop
If they
talking.
cease,
We got
if they
Brant
don't
on.
cease
We don't-
doing that,
so we don't
they
lose
will
out
be
on
immediately, banned.
That way we're not missing
yeah,
out on
Blade says,
anything.
react
It
if
is
you lack brain cells.
6:08
If you lack the brain
PM
cells, please react to that
time.
post so we know who to ban. You will be
For
immediately
everybody
banned
who
if
is
you
new
are,
here,
caught
please make sure
reacting
to hit that follow like
to,
button on Facebook. Please hit that
caught
subscribe
reacting
button
to the
on
post. So,
YouTube.
to all my
that
mods
follow
watching
button
Situation
and
Room
share
right
button
now,
on
if you
Twitch.
see anybody
helps us
reacting
get to the
to
top.
G-Blade's
Let
posts,
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch
anybody that
our
is reacting
content
to the posts, you can
that
ban
you're
them.
enjoying.
Okay.
For all the new
For everybody that's in the situation room, we
followers
don't need
and
reacts. We
shares,
don't need anybody making
thanks
comments
to
in the
everyone.
situation room. We're going to keep
Very
that
much
just open
appreciated.
for the free flow of
Help
intelligence
share
and
the
news
news,
here.
let everybody know what's
General
going
chat
on.
is the place for that. Okay.
News ain't
So just
telling
keep in
us
mind, guys,
what.
you will be banned and removed over the course of the day if you guys are talking in the situation room. We're keeping, as I said, we're keeping that open just for intel reports that are coming in and news links and stuff like that. Okay. So try to keep that situation room clear. If you guys want to talk and stuff, you can do that as much as you like in the general chat. The general chat is the Wild West of the Discord. So, but once again, keep in mind if you are spamming in the general chat, you will be perma-banned, and we are not appealing. We will not be appealing any bans to anybody. That is banned for spamming or trolling or anything like that. So no ban appeals, guys. I know some people might have been mistakenly banned. You guys can send over your appeals and I'll look at them. I said though earlier we probably won't be doing any appeals for at least the next few days.
No-fly zone over Ukraine. This is very serious, very professional military talk.
Yeah, guys, listen, for everybody that for everybody that is listening to so everybody that's looking like at the situation room right now, if you guys are posting any type of activity, if you guys are posting any type of activity, any type of text activity will be immediately banned. I don't care who you are. We're doing this just to keep the situation room open for the free flow of intel. So just for everybody, just fair warning, do not be posting any text in the situation room. Anybody that's caught spamming reacts will be banned as well.
That he will be stopped. The losses are already unbearable, at least for us. Maybe he can survive these losses. Maybe he's
to anybody that's being banned right now from the situation room, yep, you guys just we told you stop throwing reacts up there. We don't need any text. There should be no text in the Situation Room except if you need to mention me, or if you need to, put some kind of little bit of clarification underneath whatever source you're posting to me. That's fine, okay? But if people are making unrelated comments, or if you're talking in the Situation Room, you will be immediately banned. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Right now, we are in consultation with your governments how to get these people out, how to help those citizens. And even
yeah, so just fair warning to everybody, today we are straying away from using timeouts in Discord. You guys will just immediately be banned. If anybody is spamming in the general or Situation Room chats, we will be immediately banning, and we are not allowing appeals for anybody that is banned. As I said just a moment ago, though, if you were accidentally banned overnight, we will take a look at those appeals. But
we wanted to avoid this. We now have to understand how we can actually get people.
So once again, guys, again, just try not to be talking in the Situation Room. If you guys are talking in the Situation Room, you will be removed from the server and permabanned. So just keep that in mind, guys.
Because from the border by land, you will have to cross 100
Thank you to everybody who's kind of following along with that narrative and continuing to post good updates to me to the Situation Room. Thank you guys so much. It's highly appreciated. For everybody that's asking how to become a temporary mod, we are not accepting any mods right now. We have everybody that we need. We are currently looking to vet some more mods in that have applied, and we will get those guys active later today.
Now they're using against us. They're coming into southern parts of the Ukrainian mainland.
Yeah, just for those of you know, our general chat is the Wild West. Any type of conversation is welcome there, guys. But just know that any type of trolling, any type of negative behavior will be immediately permabanned. We're not doing any timeouts or anything like that today. We're just removing people from the server. We're trying to keep the discussions across all of the channels in the Discord to intelligence reports. All right, so keep that in mind.
It's not just for armed forces. They're fighting with them now.
The Russian government wants Ukraine back.
Somebody said the Dnipro program is frozen. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get our cameras. I'll get our cameras unfroze in a little while here, guys.
For the most part, largely.
Keep in mind that some of the cams might be frozen right now. I have to refresh them. Some of them are also offline. We've had quite a few cameras go offline in the past few hours.
When we're talking about constituent sentiment, y'all, we're talking about the sentiment of the constituent. Yo, by the way, Whimsical and Soil Tender, thank y'all so much for those 100 bits. Appreciate that.
Failed to divert this attack which is happening right now. The rest of the Ukrainians believe that we will live in a marriage within the Soviet Union, if you want me to put this way, for so many years that they wouldn't come to kill their brothers and sisters. We have so many family contacts, so many business contacts, cultural contacts. That's why Ukrainian students even wrap their head around this, how it can actually happen. Zelensky, the president himself, he lived in Moscow. He was mentioned a couple of times for 10 years, working there. So for many Ukrainians, it's unthinkable.
Somebody said Ukrainian army has captured a whole platoon of 74th Motorized Brigade in Chernihiv region. We'll take a look at that later. Once again, guys, I said I'll be coming on the air sometime around 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Boo Boo says, is there a Discord link? Yep, look below the stream on Twitch. You'll find a Discord link. There's also a Discord link below the in the YouTube description below the stream. Somebody said, I'm offended by Wild West. Some of us are pretty chill. Yes, to everybody that is chill, you guys, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. To everybody that is chill across the Discord and the YouTube chats, thank you guys so much for keeping things civil and stuff, okay? As we battle the trolls, we also got to give hats off to them. They're doing a hell of a lot of work. You guys are awesome. For every troll that comes in, my heart grows an inch in size. So I'll be back here, guys, shortly. As I said, I'll be coming on the air sometime around 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
levels
Eastern
off
time,
for a little bit.
and we'll be beginning
Not many people in Ukraine
for the
believed
night. But
that
thank you very much.
That's why we were actually trying to get into NATO all these years, because we always believed that they would come.
Chat?
But you know, how real it is, when there's this difference between what you do as a political figure, a political person, and what you're actually preparing your nation to sacrifice to defend ourselves. We have probably to divert more of our budget, and it's not huge, for the army. We had to increase the number of people to be able to defend. But the war is not over. We are fighting right now. People dying as we speak.
Можна українською питання? Да? Якщо коротко, то основні наші пропозиції, вимоги – це SWIFT, амуніція та...
And we are getting an official statement from Oksana Markarova, the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. So I do want to listen in live, Raw and Unfiltered, right now.
Been launched towards Ukraine from the territory of Belarus. According to the latest data, they also attacked some of the hospitals. That was just the information that was out from the Minister of Health. And they also made an attempt to seize the Chernobyl nuclear power station. And the fight is going right there with Ukrainian National Guard protecting the Chernobyl station from the attack. So for the first time since Chernobyl nuclear disaster, after which Ukraine has been protected together with our European and American friends and allies, all the world from another nuclear disaster, we have to defend it again from the Russian forces. Now, Ukraine has activated our right to self-defense in accordance with international law. The combat spirit of Ukrainian military is high. We are fighting, we will be fighting. We, not only our brave and motivated military, but all Ukrainians. We are protecting our home, and we will not stop. The President also speaks to all the leaders and all the leaders of the free world, and we call for everyone to form the anti-Putin coalition to stop Mr. Putin and stop this attack on Ukraine. We're very thankful to President Biden for the immediate statement, which came minutes after Putin's decision to go on this offensive. And we're also thankful to all other allies, to the European allies, to Great Britain, to President Macron, to Prime Minister Johnson, who issued statements in support of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Ukraine already has severed diplomatic relations with Russia. We call on all of our friends and allies to do the same. We also call on international organizations to consider excluding Russia from membership for flagrant violations of international law. Now, we value all the support. We hear all the support. It's very important for us, but it's also time to act. And we call on international community to act immediately. Only our united steps can stop Vladimir Putin and Russian Federation from this attack on Ukraine, from this war, but also from attacking anyone else in the free world. So our partners should immediately enact a package of new sanctions, and we really hope these devastating sanctions will be appropriate for this moment, and Russia will clearly feel that they cannot wage war on an independent sovereign country, because the future of the world order depends on this. So what we ask all of our partners and friends to do now, first, massive sanctions for what Russia did to us in 2014, did to us for the past 8 years, and does now as they waged a full-scale war against Ukraine. Second, all the help our friends and allies can provide us with regard to the defensive capabilities. Our military and every Ukrainian is ready to defend our country. We need help in order to be able to defend our country. And third, humanitarian assistance, because the damages that Russia is inflicting on Ukraine right now are large. And of course, the day-to-day life of ordinary people is at risk and is disrupted greatly. Now, I would want to finish my statement on saying that just before I came here, we got information from our chief commander that one of the platoons of the 74th motorized brigade from Kemerovska Oblast surrendered. Also noting that they didn't know that they were brought to Ukraine to kill Ukrainians, that they thought they were doing something else there. Again, Ukraine is defending our home. We will defend our home, and it's time for all free and democratic nations who value the principles and the territorial integrity and the right of any country for peace to stand together with us, but not only stand together with us, act together with us to stop the war in Europe. Thank you very much, and I would be happy to answer questions. We know that it's, again, Ukraine for since 2008 announced our clear goal to be part of the European and Euro-Atlantic security system. We are extended opportunity partner with NATO, but we are not part of any of the alliances. So we do not expect anyone to fight for us, but we expect all the help and all the response the West can send to us. At the same time, we are also requesting and would appreciate the peacekeeping operations from the peacekeeping-loving countries, the peace-loving countries, and any support that we can get. That's the information that we have received from, and it's official announcement from our commander, chief commander of the armed forces, that yes, they have surrendered, and platoon. So I don't know the exact number, but you know. Well, if you listen to President Putin's so-called speech before he announced war on Ukraine, and his speech when he recognized so-called DPR and LPR, it's clear to us that, again, it's not about Donetsk or Lugansk, it's not about some of us, it's essentially a declaration that we do not have right to exist. Now, we have existed long before Russia. We exist now, and we definitely will fight for our home. So all the planning and all the preparations are in place in Kyiv. Everyone is in Ukraine. All government, president and others operate fully together with the diplomatic forces and our armed forces, and we all support them. Now, you know that yesterday our president announced the martial law, and the parliament supported it. So now all the focus of everything that we are doing in Ukraine is to defend our country. We expect the announcements soon from the US, but from all other friends and allies. We believe it has to be everything. We believe all financial institutions should be sanctioned. We believe Russia should be discontinued from SWIFT. We believe Russia should be discontinued from anything that democratic countries allowed them to be part of. We believe that the diplomatic ties should be severed with Russia. We believe that it's the moment when it's not okay for anyone who values peace to continue business as usual with Russia. Well, we are positive, given our strategic friendship and relations with the United States and the level of support, that US is with us in this fight. on the first question, again, we're talking to all of our friends and allies, and especially with the United States on the sanctions, and we're in close consultations, and we're looking forward to the announcement, which hopefully will be soon, and that the sanctions will be devastating. And now, yes, we believe and we strongly ask everyone to support the discontinuation of SWIFT, disconnecting Russia from SWIFT. On the second question on Kiev, there is a public information from the chief commander that there has been attacks around Kiev. I mean, Kiev is fully in control, but yes, we do have, and we have also captured some of the, and two, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, as of now, helicopters has been shot. The Russian helicopters just outside of Kiev. There is an ongoing fight in Hostomel airport. This is a civilian airport, by the way, that has been attacked also by Russians. But so the situation is very tense. The attack is ongoing in many areas, and we need all the support, all the additional support we can get from our friends and allies, especially with the defensive anti-air supplies. Well, I can tell you about our plans. We intend to protect our country. We intend to continue fighting, and we intend to protect all the branches of power that we need to be operational in order to effectively defend our country. So I cannot tell you what is in Mr. Putin's mind, because I think until yesterday, even though we knew that there were preparations, and even though this escalation started in April 2021, I don't think any normal person would believe that something like this, to this magnitude, will actually be carried out in the 21st century against independent country. So I don't know what the plans are, but I want to assure you that whatever those plans are, we will resist, and we will fight, and we will defend our country. Yes. We are doing everything that we can under these circumstances to defend our people. We ask people to be prepared, to stay calm, and we ask people to take shelter and act according to all the rules that have been in place in Kiev, so in Ukraine. Again, as we do not know what is going to happen in the next hours, the main focus now for all of us should be how to stop this attack. It's not Ukraine that is adding to the risk of the situation. Russia is the only country that is solely responsible for what is going on. They have attacked us. They have put our civilians at risk right now, and we're doing everything possible to save every life in Ukraine, but also we're doing everything possible to defend our country. So again, as we have the right of self-defense, our chief commander also gave an order to do the maximum possible damage to the enemy as they are on our territory attacking us. Can just... Well, of course, we know that we are trying to help all the people, especially in the areas where the largest combat is. So we are trying to assist the evacuation, especially for children and women, for the civilians, relocating them inside the country and helping in any way possible. And all the Ukrainian services that are activated also by the introduction of the marshal, or are working day and night to assist all of them. But you know, the main goal right now is to defend the country. The main goal is to stop the aggression, and while we are doing it, we are also trying to defend every man and woman and child in Ukraine. Well, you know, in these times, let me not disclose the details, which we don't want our enemy to know. But I want to say that we're in very close cooperation, and we're working with the United States, but all of our strategic friends and allies. This is absurd. In 2014, Ukraine has chosen a path again to democracy, and we, with the revolution of dignity, we said no to Mr. Yanukovych and his cronies, and we said no to his decision to actually stop our move into the European Union, and we said yes to our European future. So since 2014, Ukraine.
All right, guys.
has
So we just had a whole bunch of cameras go out. When I come back here in a little bit, I'll be putting new cameras up on screen.
That now have
if you guys would like to
sixth
send me
president.
cameras,
And it's all during
go
the
ahead
same
and send
time
those
that
over
Russia
in
has one
Discord,
president.
either through PMs
So
or get them to me
we
through.
are a democratic country.
Either
All of
PMs
our
or
friends
get
and
them
allies
to me
can
in the
attest
video channel.
that
Okay,
Ukraine
and then I'll
is a
put new
very
cams up,
accepting
on the
community.
screen.
That actually, after the freedoms
in a short
disappeared in Russia,
we had a whole bunch of cameras
all
just
of
go
the
down
people,
in
many of the people
Odessa.
actually, you know, starting
Not sure
from
if that's related, guys.
Radio Free
but
Europe
keep
and
an eye on
others
that.
found
Right now I have
their
cameras of
home
Kiev,
in
the
Ukraine,
bottom right, Sumy,
and
top right,
especially when they
Lviv is
were
top
first
left, and bottom left
forced
is
out from Russia and then forced out from Belarus.
Get that
So
text
I
there on screen for you
not
guys. So
only
that's
reject
Luhansk,
those claims,
Kiev, Sumy,
they
and
are
Lviv.
completely
Okay.
false, and I know that
I will
many
be
people of different
I will be coming on the
nationalities
air
call Ukraine
around
their
1
home,
p.m.
and
Eastern
moreover,
Standard Time.
many people of different nationalities defend their home in Ukraine
At some point
right now.
here, over the next few hours, I'll be putting more cameras up on screen. We'll be getting new, fresh ones in. But we've had a bunch of cameras go down in Ukraine just over the past hour here, so I'll have to keep you guys up to date on that. With that, guys, I ask that you stand by. We'll be coming on the air at 1
Of
p.m.
course, it's
Eastern
more
Standard
difficult
Time,
than
give
it
or
was
take a little
before,
bit.
but it's
Keep
possible,
an eye out
and that's
for,
why we call on all of
we're
our
gonna
friends
be
and
bumping
allies
some Ukrainian
not only to
national anthem
continue
in the
providing us
stream
with the
right
military
before I come
support,
on air, so
defensive support,
keep an ear to the
but
ground
also
for the music,
increase
and
it.
keep an eye on the
We need it to
Discord. I
defend our
will
country.
announce over there when I'm coming on the air.
With our victory. It will
To everybody
with Ukraine
sending me
winning
cameras
this.
right now, thank you very much.
Because we are in our home. We
keep an eye
are
on that.
defending our
Yeah,
home.
the
We
camera
never attacked
streams,
anyone.
a lot of them have gone
Ukraine
down.
is a very peaceful
and,
country.
we'll be putting some
Even
more
though
up on
Russia
stream
attacked us
here
in 2014,
in a
even
short
though
while.
Russia illegally annexed and occupied Crimea and also occupied
I also
some
asked,
parts
guys,
of
don't
Donetsk
post
and
any
Lugansk
multicam
Oblast, which
streams
she recently
in
she
the,
occupied them in
Discord.
2014, and
If
she
you guys
recently
are posting
recognized them
multicam streams,
as
we
the
will be,
so-called
removed,
republics. Even though
from
we
the
have
Discord.
all the
So
legal
we're just looking for
rights
single cam
to
streams here, guys,
our
not
Crimea
multicam
and our
streams.
Donetsk and Lugansk, we never attempted and never had, never
For intelligence
started and never
purposes,
intended
we're
to
just looking
return them
for
by
reports of the
military
situation right now.
means.
No,
And we never
text
planned
chat or
any
discussion.
advances,
If any of that is
military
found, we will
advances there.
immediately be
We
banning people
always
that
focused
are
only
discussing
on the
stuff in the
diplomatic
situation room
and
that
political
is left
diplomatic
for general
solutions.
chat, okay?
That's why
so yeah,
we
guys,
were
let's
so
keep
set
camera
on
posts in the
making
Discord,
all
just
of the
a singular
formats,
live
whether we
feed
like them
cams
or
that we
not.
can get up on
But
screen
Normandy,
here for you.
Minsk Accords, and all others, we
And,
worked
we'll
day
be back
and night
in a short
in
while
order
here.
to find a diplomatic solution.
Keep an ear to
And
the
I would
ground
like to
on
remind
the
you
Kiev
that last
camera,
year Ukraine has
for,
started a
air raid
Crimean
sirens
platform,
and,
which the
future
inaugural
sounds of
meeting of that
shelling,
Crimea platform
as
was
contact,
convened when Ukraine
in the,
celebrated our
northern
30th
areas of,
anniversary of independence in Kiev, and 46
Ukraine
countries
is starting
actually
to heat
joined the
up at this
Crimea
hour.
platform. And
There's been
that
all
was a
sorts of
venue
reports
and
of
plan
combat over by,
how we were
Pripyat
going
in the
again
exclusion
through
zone.
only
So
peaceful
it's definitely getting
diplomatic
closer
measures
to Kiev.
to restore the territorial integrity of Ukraine. So
Apparently, there's a battle taking place at the
answer
Chernobyl
this,
nuclear plant. We'll keep an eye on that.
we
As I
were
said just
peaceful.
now,
We never
there is
attacked
conflict
anyone.
currently happening
It's
in the
Russia
exclusion zone,
that
and we'll be
attacked
getting
us
you guys
totally
updated on that
unprovoked,
in a short while. But
and
as I
it's
said, I'll be
a
coming on the air
gross
at 1 p.m.
violation
Eastern
of
Standard Time.
international law.
In the meantime, we will be
you.
just taking a look at, keeping an eye on these cameras we have on screen here,
Of course.
and the flight radar.
Our president
and,
is in Ukraine,
Thanks again to everybody
and
that is
he
tuning in,
leads
and
our
to
nation
all of our
as
mods
we
that are
now
currently
defend
helping
our.
out, and everybody that's spreading intel.
I will not
thank you guys
answer
very
this
much.
question, but of course he is in Ukraine. Well, I am positive that we will be able to defend our country if all of our friends and allies will act together with us now. Act on sanctions, act on additional support, and act on all of the assistance that our friends and allies can provide us with. We will defend our country and we will resist. Well, we are where we are, right? So let's focus on the sanctions that the United States and other countries will impose right now. This is what matters. I think, the message we all together and the acts, the actual deeds that we all together will do now is what matters. Yes, we have. Let me see whether I have the up-to-date information. Maybe my general has. My information is not really up to date here. I know that as of this morning, we had 40 Ukrainian servicemen and dozens of civilians killed. And we had several dozens of Ukrainians also wounded. But again, I do not have the up-to-date information right now. But all I can say that we will defend our country and we are not scared. Yes. Oh, and 2 helicopters and 7 aircraft. That's the casualties right now on the Russian side. And several trucks. Well, we have heard already, right after the attack started, a very strong message from President Biden. He reacted right away. So right now we are working together and we are looking forward to the statements of the actions that we will all take together in sanctions, in additional support, and in everything else. So we look forward to the statement. And again, we would like to ask all of our friends and allies right now to act together with Ukraine and to help us to defend ourselves. Thank you. Thank you very much, and I would be happy to see you again or send you more information as situation evolves. Please pray for Ukraine. We all pray for Ukraine, but we also demand justice for our country. Thank you.
And that was the latest update live to you guys from Ukrainian ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markarova. She outlining that martial law, the focus is to defend our country, meaning Ukraine. She urges calm amongst the Ukrainian people. She urges them to take shelter. She does emphasize that Ukraine are in very close cooperation with the United States and all of its allies and friends. And that was the latest address. We do want to take you out live right now to a feed that we are monitoring, and we brought you a couple of minutes ago, actually, in Moscow, where anti-war protests are beginning to take shape here in the capital of, or in one of the major cities, obviously, of Russia. We do have confirmation that these anti-war protests are beginning to take shape. This coming just hours after President Zelensky urged the Russian people to take to the streets to protest Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to invade Ukraine. Ukraine. President Zelensky this morning, he did declare martial law, and we just saw that confirmed by the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. He calls for his citizens to fight. We are getting a slew of new images coming into our newsroom, so we're going to step away for a quick 2-minute commercial break, and when we get back, we will set you up with all of the latest information coming out from the Ukrainian, from the nation of Ukraine, and from this ever-evolving situation. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
Did y'all see all this happening? I'm backing it up a little bit just to kind of. Wasn't there like an arrest right here? Hold on. Let's go back and look and see if we see. Like, there's like a big marching group of people. Seems like just anti-war separatist kind of radical. Your hippies. We call them yuppies in the city. Oh, they got him, somebody. Do they have him, somebody? Somebody hit somebody or something? That's what this looks like. We don't like what you're protesting about. Y'all remember what the minister for Trudeau said yesterday, y'all? The minister of Trudeau yesterday, or for Trudeau, said that the reason why they froze the bank accounts of 8 million Canadians was to convince them to not protest. That the protest was over in their mind. And so they froze your bank account. And so what they did was they incentivized you to quit protesting by demonetizing. Absolute tyranny. That is fascism, man. That's fascism. It's like, oh, you're doing too good, so I've got to completely stop you and squish you. I just don't want to play this cheesy music. It's just the most saddest Doctor Strange movie is what it looks like. But yeah, basically we have...
Welcome into Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Gabrielle Amato, coming at you live now from our Orlando studios. 11:43 here on the East Coast, and we are monitoring the 3 screens, or 3 boxes.
That was your right to protest, Vol.
On your screens. The bigger box is a live anti-war protest occurring right now as we speak in Moscow, in Russia's capital. These are people who have taken to the streets, Russians who have taken to the streets of Moscow to protest Russia's attack and invasion of Ukraine today. Police have blocked parts of the city. Protesters have headed to the center. They are on their way right now to Red Square and to Bolshoi Theater. So both of those areas are in the center of Moscow. We're getting in this feed live, raw, and unfiltered, which is why you see the camera so shaky. This camera is following these protesters to where that major protest is going to happen. So as soon as we get sound from that, as soon as we get more information on that, we will be sure to bring it to you. On the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you see a live image of the White House, because we are expecting to hear from President Joe Biden at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Jill Biden's husband. I'm Joe Biden's husband.
Vladimir Putin's statement this morning, 12 hours ago.
I gotta poop.
He has started a quote special military operation in Ukraine. So that is what we are monitoring. We are within an hour now of that statement.
All right, so while she's just kind of doing the news jargon spin, I just want to say one thing. Every time Joe Biden says something dumb, every time he speaks, every time, y'all, this is what we put in the chat, okay? Hold on. We put this in the chat, basically. Just a bunch of Herbert the Perverts and sleepy little sheeps. Every time. Let's try to make that a new thing. Every time he starts talking, I'm going to put Granny Clampert on his head.
And don't really understand why are the markets taking such a fall. Well, Russia is the second largest oil producer of the world. That is why you are seeing such a heavy impact on oil prices, and potentially this will trickle down to obviously all of our gas prices. As countermeasures from the West continue to be handed towards Russia, meaning all of those sanctions that we have been talking about all day long, these markets will continue to be affected. Now, the markets have dropped for 5 consecutive days. Just a couple of weeks ago, we actually had the worst day of the year when the market closed down 600 points. Well, it is down right now at 675 points and evolving every minute. Earlier this morning, it was actually, the Dow was down 800 points. So this is something that we are going to be continuing to look at. All main indexes across the world have fallen this morning, and it's worth noting that Russia's not
look at
only,
that.
the second
The stock
largest
market
producer of oil in the world,
taking
but
the shit
they're
on
also
itself.
the world's largest exporter of wheat.
Look,
And it is here that we lost that anti-war protest here.
If
So
you
we'll
want to
try
know
and
how
get
good a
that
president
back
is,
live
look at
on
the stock
and
market.
filtered, as soon as we get that. But it is worth noting
Good
that
morning,
they're also the
everybody.
largest
Yeah, it's
producer,
bad
of
today.
wheat. And so these are the types of things that
It's
we're
bad,
going to
chat.
see impacted
We need to
by
talk.
Russia's decision to invade. I do want to bring us out live to Kyiv to a live look at Maidan Square. This is Independence
Maidan
Square
Square.
in Ukraine's capital, where the streets are very calm. For perspective, the time right now in Kyiv is 6:47 p.m.
There
So we
is
had
a
to
big
warm
protest
the situation
forming
down
in
for 12
Moscow right now.
hours. And it was just before 6 a.m.
There's a big
Eastern
group of
time,
people walking in a
from 6
circle,
a.m.
and then there's a
Moscow time,
clump
so
of people in the
overnight,
middle.
Eastern time.
There
that
have
the
been
news
arrests
did break
already.
That President Vladimir Putin confirmed this invasion, and I do want to bring us out to our triple view because we did get that anti-war protest screen back into our newsroom. But let's recap where we currently stand. Russian forces trying to seize the former nuclear power plant Chernobyl. That is something that President Zelensky confirmed to the world via Twitter. We did have that tweet up for you, and we broke that news to you earlier today. Now, the Ukrainian government has confirmed that at least 7 Russian planes, 2 helicopters, and dozens of enemy armored equipment has been destroyed, so the Ukrainian gaining some ground on the Russian forces. Biden says that he will continue to impose severe sanctions on Russia and support Ukrainians in any way possible. We have been monitoring all morning long global leaders reacting and condemning Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin's decision to invade Ukraine. We heard earlier this morning from NATO General Secretary Jens Stoltenberg. We also heard from UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. We have heard from leaders from Australia, Spain, all over the world condemning President Vladimir Putin. But the situation is what it is. We want to bring you the latest images that are coming into our news.
It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't.
Now, President Biden here meeting with the National Security Council. This was an image provided to the world, and this was his latest meeting discussing what he is going to say in his address at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, what the latest batch of sanctions are going to look like. He also participated in a virtual G7 meeting earlier this morning. We can confirm that. So once again, we are within the hour of President Biden's
You can confirm
address.
his
We
butts
also
have been
want to
wiped.
bring you images coming into our newsroom right now of protests happening all around the world. We've been monitoring the live one that's happening right now in Russia, in Moscow. There's another one happening in St. Petersburg. We can confirm that these protests are happening all around the world. We brought them live to you from Kyiv, outside of the Russian embassy a couple of days ago. They have happened in Paris, in Berlin, right here at home in Washington, D.C., which is what you see on your screens. And so that is the latest. The world taking to the streets to condemn President Vladimir Putin and his decision to invade Ukraine. We also want to bring you out live to what the situation on the ground in Ukraine currently looks like. And here is what the reality is. These are lines of people waiting to get food, waiting to get bread. We saw lines earlier today of people in their cars waiting to get gas outside of banks to get their money. This is a situation that we're going to continue to see escalate as people in Ukraine, although we've heard officials tell everyone to remain calm, they do have to get to safety. And
That's why people in other countries don't really like us. It's because our youth are insulting to how easy they have it in life.
This is something else that is coming into our newsroom, the aftermath.
And they
of some of
understand
those
what real hard life
explosions,
is.
that have happened all around Ukraine. This is footage coming into our newsroom, and this is testimony from
No diggity.
someone who was on the background, I do want to remove the lower so we can all read and listen into this little snippet here that came.
В Харкові.
Ми родом з
З Харкова.
Сім'я не планує до вас сюди їхати.
Вони не зможуть. Ставили до хати.
Що плануєте зробити?
Я не знаю, чекаємо.
It's from people who are living this. Then there you're seeing an image of the subway system. This was something that we saw earlier this morning as well. People heading to the subways as makeshift bomb shelters. People
Why does
lining
their
up
audio
there
suck
to get
so
money
bad?
out of ATMs. Once again, this is the reality on the ground. Traffic jams. And here we're hearing from someone else. Let's take a listen.
Там хорошо почула. Несколько раз. Вообще где-то даже 6-5 не було. Ну що зробиш? Що буде, те й буде.
А що плануєте робити взагалі зараз?
Зараз йду на роботу. Одроблю, поїду додому.
На лісову?
Ну а як же, а куди ж? Доця зове на оболонь, син зове туди, а я поїду домой. Ну що ми будемо бігати? Що це дасть? Нічого.
З Києва не плануєте їхати?
Ні. Так, честно говоря, сильно-то и ехать некуда, кроме кладбища. Там, где, ну, все похоронены.
And there you hear from that woman who says that she is going to stay put, that she is not going to leave Kyiv. And these are the latest images coming into our newsroom right now. We do want to take you back out live to the situation that we are monitoring all around the world here. A live look at the White House, a live look at Moscow, where it does appear that people are being detained by police amid these anti-war protests, and then of course a look at the markets that are falling amid the tensions in Russia and Ukraine. We are going to step away for a quick 2-minute commercial break. Before we go, we'll take another live look at Kyiv, Ukraine. When we come back, we'll continue to recap the latest and hear from world leaders as they condemn
I gotta get some water,
President
I'll be right back.
Vladimir Putin and his invasion of Ukraine. See you in 2 minutes. Live now from Fox. I'm your host, Gabrielle Amato, live from our Orlando studios, 11:55 here on the East Coast. And I do want to bring you these images coming in from a live protest happening right now in Moscow, because it does appear that the situation is escalating a bit. Here we are seeing police officers getting quite physical with some of these protesters, demanding that they leave. This is an anti-war protest happening right now in Moscow. There was a police setup And now these marchers were marching towards a red square and Bolshoi Theater. And now it does appear that the police are asking them to leave. We don't exactly know the situation here, but we're getting these live images. There we see a police officer speaking to yet another protester. Of course, all of this happening as people have taken to the streets demanding that they leave. This is an anti-war protest happening right now in Moscow. There was a today set up and now take to the marchers to make their voices known, to condemn their president. And it does appear that that is what they are doing now. President Zelensky declaring martial law in Ukraine. He has called for citizens to fight. He has called for Russians to take to the streets to make their voices known. And to once again voice to President Vladimir Putin that they do not want war. We also want to update you all that we are now within the half-an-hour mark of President Biden addressing the nation. He is expected to address the nation from the White House at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We will, of course, bring that to you live, raw, and unfiltered here on Live Now from Fox. We are also monitoring the markets as they continue to fall amid the tension between Russia and Ukraine. They have been falling for 5 consecutive days now, and they are down once again 600 points. This at a time where we see oil prices reaching a 7-year high. This morning, they passed the $100 a barrel mark. And so we are going to continue to see economic implications of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And if you do send your attention to that larger box on your screen, we're seeing yet another man being spoken to by Russian police. All of these images coming at you live, raw, and unfiltered as anti-war protests are happening in Moscow. To further keep you up to date, Russian forces are trying to seize the former nuclear power plant Chernobyl. They have entered Russia, Ukraine that is, from the north through Belarus, and they are trying to take control of that. Now, the Ukrainian government has confirmed that at least 7 Russian planes, 2 helicopters, and dozens of enemy armored equipment has been destroyed. And here we're seeing those police lights really pick up in the center of your screen, and the city lights as well. And President Biden says he will continue to impose severe sanctions on Russia and support Ukrainians in any possible way. We do want to take a live look at Ukraine once again. And in just a couple of minutes, we will have a live interview as we continue to keep you updated on the latest that is happening on the ground in Ukraine today.
Nice. Damn, I got it on the bottom because they're like arresting people.
And what a difference 24 hours makes. Live look right now in Kyiv as we are awaiting President Biden to be making remarks there on new sanctions against Russia. You're watching Live Now from Fox. We appreciate everyone continuing to join us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Pace. Thanks to our Florida team kicking us off this morning and get you all up to date on what is happening where last night we began to see the invasion and the attacks. Here is just some of the video from earlier in the day there in parts of Ukraine as Russia launches a full-scale invasion. Thanks again to all of our folks from around the country and around the world joining us here worldwide on Live Now from Fox as Ukraine braces for more attacks. So here is what we have coming up, everyone. We're always going to be taking a look here at the markets. You could see it has dipped down drastically, 560 points. We had session lows at about 750, 800 points. They're in the red. We'll continue to follow it for you always right here on Live Now from Fox. There is active protest in Moscow right now over the invasion.
Looks like it's a good time to invest in a couple of weeks.
So there is going to be protest in New York City. You can see that happening right now, doing an interview at this moment. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as they go to different parts in New York City. We'll be keeping an eye on all of that here for you. on Live Now from Fox, everybody. Our next story that we really want to go to and really keep an eye on here as we're learning these cyber attacks could happen not only to Ukraine, we've seen it in the past this week, but also right here in the U.S. as we're worried about our banking systems as well as our energy grid. So we want to get a little bit more insight on all of that right now. We have a special guest joining us here on Live Now from Fox. We appreciate you. Cybersecurity expert Joseph Steinberg joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thanks so much for coming on what is shaping up to be a busy day, unfortunately, for other
gotta
parts
like
of the
that
world.
Keynesian economy.
And Joseph, can you hear us? Right, it looks like you might be still muted. There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Do you hear me now?
Against a free and peaceful neighbor, in breach of his own explicit pledge and every principle of civilized behavior between states, spurning the best efforts of this country and our allies to avoid bloodshed. For this, Putin will stand condemned in the eyes of the world and of history. He will never be able to cleanse the blood of Ukraine from his hands. And although the UK and our allies tried every avenue for diplomacy until the final hour, I'm driven to conclude that Putin was always determined to attack his neighbor, no matter what we did. Now we see him for what he is, a blood-stained aggressor who believes in imperial conquest. I am proud that Britain did everything within our power to help Ukraine prepare for this onslaught, and we will do our utmost to offer more help as our brave friends defend their homeland. Our embassy took the precaution on 18th of February of relocating from Kiev to the city of Lviv in western Ukraine, where our ambassador Melinda Simmons continues to work with the Ukrainian authorities and to support British nationals. Now we have a clear mission, diplomatically, politically, economically, and eventually militarily. This hideous and barbarous venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. At the G7 meeting this afternoon, we agreed to work in unity to maximize the economic price that Putin will pay for his aggression. And this must include ending Europe's collective dependence on Russian oil and gas that has served to empower Putin for too long. So I welcomed again Chancellor Scholz's excellent decision to halt the certification of Nord Stream 2. Mr. Speaker, countries that together comprise about half the world economy are now engaged in maximizing pressure, economic pressure, on one that makes up a mere 2%. For our part today, the UK is announcing the largest and most severe package of economic sanctions that Russia has ever seen. With new financial measures, we're taking new powers to target Russian finance, in addition to the banks we've already sanctioned this week. Today, in concert with the United States, we are imposing a full asset freeze on VTB. More broadly, these powers will enable us totally to exclude Russian banks from the UK financial system, which is of course by far the largest in Europe, stopping them from accessing sterling and clearing payments through the UK. And with around half of Russia's trade currently in US dollars and sterling, I'm pleased to tell the House that the United States is taking similar measures. These powers will also enable us to ban Russian state and private companies from raising funds in the UK, banning dealing with their securities and making loans to them. We will limit the amount of money that Russian nationals will be able to deposit in their UK bank accounts, and sanctions will also be applied to Belarus for its role in the assault on Ukraine. Overall, we'll be imposing asset freezes on more than 100 new entities and individuals, on top of the hundreds that we've already announced. This includes all the major manufacturers that support Putin's war machine. Furthermore, we are also banning Aeroflot from the UK. Next, on top of these financial measures and in full concert with the United States and the EU, we will introduce new trade restrictions and stringent export controls similar to those that they in the US are implementing. We will bring forward new legislation to ban the export of all dual-use items to Russia, including a range of high-end and critical technological equipment and components in sectors including electronics, telecommunications, and aerospace. Legislation to implement this will be laid early next week. These trade sanctions will constrain Russia's military, industrial, and technological capabilities for years to come. We're bringing forward measures on unexplained wealth orders from the Economic Crime Bill to be introduced before the House rises for Easter. And we will set out further detail before Easter on the range of policies to be included in the full bill in the next session, including on reforms to Companies House and a register of overseas property ownership. We will set up a new dedicated kleptocracy cell in the National Crime Agency to target sanctions evasion and corrupt Russian assets hidden in the UK, and that means oligarchs in London will have nowhere to hide. And Mr. Speaker, I know that this House will have great interest in the potential of cutting Russia out from SWIFT. And I can confirm, as I've always said, that nothing is off the table. But for all these measures to be successful, it is vital that we have the unity of our partners, the unity in the G7 and other fora. And, Mr. Speaker, Russian investors are already delivering their verdict on the wisdom of Putin's actions. And so far today, Russian stocks are down by as much as 45%, wiping $250 billion from their value in the biggest one-day decline on record. Sberbank, Russia's biggest lender, is down by as much as 45%, and Gazprom down by as much as 39%, while the ruble has plummeted to record lows against the dollar. We will continue on a remorseless mission to squeeze Russia from the global economy piece by piece, day by day, and week by week. And we will, of course, use Britain's position in every international forum to condemn the onslaught against Ukraine, and we will counter the Kremlin's blizzard of lies and disinformation by telling the truth about Putin's war of choice and his war of aggression. And we will work with our allies on the urgent need to protect other European countries that are not members of NATO and who could become targets of Putin's playbook of subversion and aggression. And we will resist any creeping temptation to accept what Putin is doing today as a fait accompli. There can be no creeping normalization. Not now, not in the months to come, not in the years ahead. We must strengthen NATO's defenses still further. And so today I called for a meeting of NATO leaders, which will take place tomorrow, and I will be convening the countries that contribute to the Joint Expeditionary Force, which is led by the United Kingdom and comprises both NATO and non-NATO members. Last Saturday, I warned that this invasion would have global economic consequences, and this morning the oil price has risen strongly. The government will do everything possible to safeguard our own people from the repercussions for the cost of living. And of course, we stand ready to protect our country from any threats, including in cyberspace. Above all, the House will realize the hard and heavy truth that we now live in a continent where an expansionist power, deploying one of the world's most formidable military machines, is trying to redraw the map of Europe in blood and conquer an independent state by force of arms. And it's vital for the safety of every nation that Putin's squalid venture should ultimately fail and be seen to fail. However long it takes, that will be the steadfast and unflinching goal of the United Kingdom. I hope of every member of this House and every one of our great allies, certain that together we have the power and the will to defend the cause of peace and justice as we have always done. And I say to the people of Russia, again, whose president has just authorized an onslaught against a fellow Slavic people, I cannot believe that this horror is being done in your name, or that you really want the pariah status that these actions will bring to the Putin regime. And to our Ukrainian friends, in this moment of agony, I say that we are with you and we are on your side. Your right to choose your own destiny is a right that the United Kingdom and our allies will always defend. And in that spirit, I join you in saying Slava Ukraini, and I commend this statement to the House.
I now call the leader of the opposition.
Okay, some strong condemnation and sanctions announcements from Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the UK. I want to update you with some breaking news I just saw. Mark's who I follow, who says, Mark says, according to the Union News Agency, I have not seen the initial report myself, but Mark says, according to the Union Ukrainian news outlet, they report that Russian troops have seized the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Staff reportedly taken hostage. So, Chernobyl is not a functioning plant. There's an exclusion zone around it because of the radiation, but there's been reports of fighting in the area. So, again, I have that. I just have that report. That's from a Ukrainian news outlet, apparently. That Union is a real Ukrainian news outlet. I haven't seen the Union report myself, but I do follow Mark's, so I don't think he's making this up that he saw it. But I'll let you know more about that if I hear more. I don't have really details on what's going on. There's been reports of fighting at Chernobyl, in the Chernobyl area today. Chernobyl is north of Kyiv, so there's lots. I would say a number of analysts and governments anticipate, including the U.S. government, I believe, that Russia's going to try to take Kyiv or attack Kyiv in some way, the capital. And Chernobyl is here, and Russia. So and it's between Belarus, where Russian troops are coming in, and Kyiv. So I don't know if the fact that there's fighting in Chernobyl is because troops are working their way down to Kyiv. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. But I'm just passing that along. President Biden will be speaking in 15 minutes. President Biden will be speaking in 15 minutes. We'll have that live for you. Let me just keep checking for updates here. It's a fast-moving situation. There's all kinds of things going on. Let me know what you're hearing at Lookner on Twitter. And hold on a second right now. I've heard a report of Trey Yingst. Guys, look. But the bigger question is what it sounds like in Kyiv right now from Trey Yingst with Fox. I don't know if that's distant explosions or planes or what. But that's from Fox's Trey Yingst.
That has made life so hard and brought on these awful, painful sanctions. But it ends up sort of in a boomerang effect going back to the West. And the other thing you have to remember is, these are big sanctions. I mean, the laundry list includes banning Aeroflot, giant airline which flies in and out.
All right, hang on a moment
here. They even call it Sheremetyevo 2 because there's so many oligarchs going into Sheremetyevo on Aeroflot. Russia has done a remarkable job, and this isn't, positive.
So again, there's a report that Russia has captured the Chernobyl power plant. A Ukrainian news site posted that. I'll let you know what else I hear about that. People are saying it's planes. Some people in our chat are saying that was planes.
is that also a nod to effectively what happened back in...
Oh, now here's an update. Look at this. This is a different report about Chernobyl. Elizabeth Campbell, she's with Face the Nation. She says Ukrainian ambassador to U.S. says Russian forces made an attempt to steal the Chernobyl power plant, and a fight is going on there right now with the Ukrainian National Guard protecting the Chernobyl station from the attack. And this is in an area, you know, I'm guessing the troops would have to have some sort of protection from the radiation there. And there are concerns I've seen that fighting in that area could disturb the ground and stir up more radiation. So again, Union, Marks, who I follow, says the site Union is reporting that Russia has taken the power station. But again, it's just not clear right now what's going on there. So, and that would be on the way from Belarus to Kyiv. So we will keep an eye on the Chernobyl situation as well. And Neil Howard says same thing. Aircraft heard in the skies over Kyiv. So again, President Putin will be speaking. Guys, President Biden will be speaking in 13 minutes. Okay, see, this is also, look, Bash Karma, this is unconfirmed. He's followed by a bunch of people I follow. He says that employees are reporting Russian troops have taken over Chernobyl power station, nuclear station. Look, I don't know. As I mentioned, there's apparently a report in Ukrainian media about this. So I will keep trying to get you more information. AirLive says a captain from Antonov Airlines confirms that Hostomel Airport has been seized by Russian forces. Hostomel Airport would be an international cargo airport and testing facility in Ukraine.
A lecturer in political science at the French Political Science Institute.
Not far from Kyiv. So that's like a cargo airport and testing facility near Ukraine, Hostomel Airport.
So the latest is that people are packing their suitcases and they don't know where to go and whether to go or not. It's risky to take a car to drive. Men cannot anymore obviously move anywhere because it's mobilization announced. So if you are planning to go somewhere, better be women and children. That's the perception on the we have
hang on a moment, guys.
Friends who are driving from Kharkiv, from Kyiv, away from the places.
Updates from what a U.S. Dan Lamothe says, a senior U.S. defense official says, we would describe what you are seeing as an initial phase of a large-scale invasion. Cautions the U.S. will not have perfect visibility of what is happening. No U.S. aircraft overhead.
But war nonetheless. Were they ready for this, though?
No.
They're making a move on Kyiv, senior U.S. defense official says. What they're doing with Kyiv is hard to say. That's from Dan Lamothe.
One corner of Ukraine, and for people in the center, in the west, in the north.
Further quote from U.S. senior defense official. We would describe what we are seeing as an initial phase, and it's likely we will see this unfold in multiple phases. How many? How long? We don't know. But what we are seeing is the initial phases of a large-scale invasion. I have been saying for weeks, I told you last night, I think this is going to be unthinkably horrific for the Ukraine people, because it looks like what Putin wants to do is fundamentally change the nature of Ukraine as a country. He did a big speech 3 days ago where he acted like a crazy person, and he said that Ukraine had no right to exist, basically. So it really seems like if he's put 3/4 of his army roughly on the border of Ukraine, and he's taking all of this risk and risking all of these negative consequences, that he would have major plans. A reasonable guess is that while Ukraine right now, the reasonable guess is that he doesn't like that Ukraine is a pro-Western, pro-European, developing democracy that wants to join NATO.
without.
He doesn't like that. He wants the country to be different. The people there don't want that. So how's he going to fundamentally change Ukraine? This is just the logic of the situation. We've been talking about this for weeks. How's he going to fundamentally change Ukraine? How's he going to make Ukraine into the kind of country he wants and that the people don't want? Well, I would think the only way he can do that is by killing people, torturing people, putting people in jail, and terrorizing people. Unfortunately, that's how he'll do it. Or that's probably that would be the plan. This has been the logic of the situation for weeks. This is why people like Michael Kaufman and Rob Lee have been saying for weeks, this is going to be a major invasion. It's just the logic of the situation. He's not taking all this risk and putting that huge force out there for nothing. He wants to make a major change in Ukraine. It's going to be a change the people there don't like and don't want to go along with. And he is most likely planning on forcing the 44 million person country of Ukraine to live in a country they don't want to live in and live in a way they don't want to live. And he's going to force them to do it. That would be the most likely scenario right now, in my opinion. And that's why I've said this is going to be absolutely horrific. Not just me, there's plenty of other analysts who say this. But I hate to break it to you if you haven't been following the situation. That's the logic of the situation. It's the logic which suggests it was going to be a big invasion, and it was. Saying it for weeks. So this is, all signs are that this is going to be a catastrophe. And who knows how it affects the rest of the world? Who knows about other countries being drawn in? And as I've said repeatedly again, this, to me, for him to do this is crazy. I've shown you analysts who say it's crazy. A lot of it, I would say most analysts a month ago didn't think he was going to do this because they just thought it'd be crazy for him to do it, out of his own self-interest to do it, just from his perspective. I don't know, if you think about this, so if he really does want to fundamentally change the country, I mean, he can't go in, if he goes in there. So suppose the Russian troops go to Kyiv tomorrow and they have a TV ceremony and they have Zelensky in handcuffs and they say, people of Ukraine, you can see your ruler Zelensky's in handcuffs. This is your new government. And they present some other people to run the country. Well, the people in Ukraine are going to be like, well, we don't want to listen to those people.